A week later and I still can't get past the Sullivan's Crossing Season 3 finale's most ridiculous plot twist. You ever watch a season finale so insane, so unbelievably backwards that you sit in stunned silence, staring at the screen like it personally betrayed you? Yeah, that was me, 1 week ago. I'm Sophia, and welcome back to Breakdown Epic, the only place where we don't just talk about the drama. We drag it under a microscope, question every molecule of logic, and expose what the writers really don't want you to see. So answer this, honestly, is it still a plot twist? If it totally rewrites the DNA of the main character? Because Sullivan's Crossing just pulled a stunt that makes Pretty Little Liars look like a grounded documentary. And I'm not joking. Here's the thing. We've been following Maggie Sullivan for 3 full seasons. We've watched her go from emotionally barricaded Boston surgeon to small-town soul-searching fixer-upper. She's complex, cautious, and, let's not sugarcoat it, a total control freak. That's not an insult, that's canon. And yet say she far, Zahas end. What in the Riverdale crossover multiverse is happening here? This isn't just a twist. It's a detonation. It blew up the carefully built foundation of her character. And for what? A last-second shocker that nobody asked for. And here's the kicker. The writers know this twist doesn't make sense. But they gambled you'd be too distracted by the cliffhanger to notice. Guess what? I noticed. We all did. And we're talking about it. Now let me ask you something even deeper. Have you ever seen a show sabotage its own main character for the sake of one shocking moment? Let that question hang, because that's exactly what just happened. Let's break this down piece by maddening piece. We're at the tail end of Season 3. Maggie's finally, finale, at peace. She stitched together her emotional scars, fixed her relationship with Sully, and even found a little small-town serenity with Cal. Life is good. But then enter Liam, a man who wasn't foreshadowed, mentioned, or even vaguely teased. He just walks in and says, "I'm your husband." My jaw didn't drop, it dislocated. Because in that moment, everything we knew about Maggie collapsed. This is a woman who documents her grocery list in color-coded spreadsheets. You're telling me she got married, and just forgot? No, absolutely not. And here's where the twist goes from dumb to diabolical. This isn't just lazy writing, it's character assassination in disguise. You want to tell me Maggie got drunk in Vegas and woke up married? Fine. Except that would still require her to know it happened. The Maggie we know would have filed for an annulment the next morning, with legal citations and a notarized checklist. But that's not what happened. The writers didn't even try to explain it in the finale. They just dropped the twist and ran, like setting a house on fire and walking away before the explosion. Now let's dig deeper into why this twist was not only implausible, but emotionally insulting. Let's pretend, just for a moment, that Liam's telling the truth, that Maggie did marry him. If so, why would she hide this from Andrew, the literal father of her child Cal, her current partner Sully, her dad and emotional lifeline Edna and Frank, the town's unofficial lie detectors, and oh yeah, herself? And while you're reeling from that logic black hole, ask yourself this: why now? Why did Liam wait all this time to reappear? Did he teleport into Timberlake? Did he psychically know she'd just finished brain surgery on Edna, and decided now's the moment to reveal their marriage? It reeks of desperation, not from the characters, but from the writers. This isn't a twist. This is a trap. And I'm gonna be blunt here, because I know you're thinking it too. This twist was never meant to make sense. It was meant to keep you hooked, to trick your brain into needing answers. It's psychological bait, and the worst part, it almost works. But on this channel, we don't just take the bait. We rip it apart, look for the hook, and expose who's holding the fishing rod. Before we go deeper, and yes, it gets worse, I need you to do something bold. If you're tired of shows insulting your intelligence for the sake of drama, hit that subscribe button right now. Because on Breakdown Epic, we don't let lazy twists slide under the radar. Okay, let's go deeper. Let's talk about Liam. This man is a ghost, a phantom, the ultimate red flag wearing a smug smile. We know nothing about him except that he's apparently married to our main character. Something no one, not even Maggie, remembers. There are only 2 possible explanations. Option Funty: Maggie doesn't know. She literally had no idea they were married. Cool. So now we're doing amnesia arcs. Or what? She signed wedding papers while under anesthesia. Option 2A: she does know, and kept it a secret from everyone in her life for years. Let that sink in, because either way, it breaks her character. Now, poll time. Let's settle this in the comments. Which explanation is more ridiculous? 1. She forgot she was married. 2. Or she knew and just ghosted a legal spouse while dating other men. Let me know below. And while you're there, tell me your wildest theory about Liam. Is he a con artist? A long-lost twin? A hallucination from the stress of Edna's surgery? At this point, anything's possible. And if you've been here before, you know I've got a theory that takes this whole mess to a new level. But I'm saving that for the reveal. Let's zoom in on what this twist really breaks: the audience's trust. See, up until now, Sullivan's Crossing hasn't been perfect, but it's played fair. Character growth felt earned. Plot twists were emotional, not absurd. Maggie's journey from rigid doctor to open-hearted daughter was slow, real, and raw. But this is Virgin River meets soap opera fan fiction. And I'm not knocking Virgin River, but even Mel would raise an eyebrow at this one. We've seen Maggie wrestle with hard truths before. We've seen her struggle to forgive Sully, to trust Cal, to open herself up again. But hiding a husband, that's not growth. That's sabotage. I mean, how do you even move forward from this? Next season, is Cal supposed to just roll with it? Is Andrew gonna find out his ex was already married while he was planning a wedding? Is Edna gonna need a second surgery, this time for emotional whiplash? Because same, Edna, same. And yet even with all this frustration I can't look away. That's the magic of these shows. They know how to yank your heart with one hand and slap you with the other. And the worst part, we come back, every time. But don't worry, I've got you. So let's start with the forbidden knowledge the writers hope you won't unpack. Here's the secret sauce behind this kind of twist. They don't write it because it makes sense. They write it because they think you won't ask questions. But we're not most viewers, are we? Let's rewind. We're told Liam was just a summer fling. Quick, casual, and forgettable. But pause. Has Maggie ever, in 3 seasons, done anything casually? This is the same woman who spiraled over a coffee date with Cal and made it feel like the climax of a war movie. She overthinks everything. She plans her emotional breakdowns 2 weeks in advance. And now we're expected to believe she took a detour from her high-strung reality and accidentally married a man she barely knew. Please, Maggie doesn't accidentally do anything. If she got married, it was intentional. And if she kept it secret, that wasn't a character choice. It was a narrative reset. And now here comes the real twist. What if this marriage wasn't a mistake at all? What if it was a cover? Let me explain. Think about how little we know about Liam. He shows up in town, claims legal marriage, and drops that bomb with zero evidence. He doesn't pull out a ring, a photo, not even a screenshot of a Vegas chapel. That's not how real drama works. That's how scams work. So let's talk theory. When is Liam is lying? Yup, that husband story. Total fabrication. Maybe he knew Maggie years ago. Maybe she rejected him. Maybe he was obsessed. Maybe there's a restraining order with his name on it. And now, seeing her back in the public eye with Cal, he's decided to blow up her life. And here's the thing. Timberlake is not hard to find if you know who Maggie's family is. Sully's name is literally on the town sign. Anyone with a Facebook account and a grudge could track her down. But that's just one angle. Now we venture into forbidden theory Faturzy. The marriage is real and Maggie knew. Hold on, I know. It sounds like betrayal, like full character derailment. But stay with me. What if Maggie got married to Liam during a trauma spiral? A moment of pure chaos. Maybe when she fled Boston. Maybe after a medical meltdown. Maybe right before her emotional return to Timberlake. She meets a guy, doesn't trust herself, wants to feel anything, and does something reckless. It happens. And maybe afterward, she buried it. Filed it away in a mental box labeled, "Mistake, do not open." Until now. When the past literally walked through her front door and shattered the illusion. If that's true, it means Maggie isn't just guilty. She's terrified. Terrified of what it means about her judgment, about her past, about what Cal or Andrew or her father might think. It also means she's been lying to herself this entire time. And this is where the drama gets real. Because Sullivan's Crossing has always flirted with emotional honesty. Trauma, reconciliation, guilt, growth. It's what makes the show tick. But this twist threatens to replace all that depth with shock value. And now, dear viewer, I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine season 4 begins with Maggie sitting across from Cal, unable to speak. He's waiting. He's confused. She looks at him with tears in her eyes and says, "I didn't forget. I just didn't want it to be true. Would you forgive her?" Seriously. Comment below. If Maggie knew about Liam but buried it, does she deserve redemption? Because this moment defines her arc, and how the writers choose to play it next season will decide whether Maggie becomes a tragic heroine, or a walking plot device. Now let's pivot slightly, because I can feel some of you asking, "Sophia, what if this twist is part of a much bigger plan?" Oh, trust me, I've thought of that too. Let me hit you with theory. 3 Liam's arrival was orchestrated. Not by fate, not by Maggie, but by someone else entirely. Remember Andrew? Oh yeah, he might be long gone but his presence lingers. The failed engagement. The messy co-parenting. The not-so-subtle shade in every scene he appears in. What if Andrew found out about Liam before any of us did? What if he's the one who sent Liam to Timberlake? It sounds twisted, but this show thrives on emotional sabotage. Andrew could have learned about the marriage through Boston hospital records, mutual friends, old emails, and instead of confronting Maggie, he weaponizes it. Why? Because if he can't have her, he'll make sure nobody can. And this isn't out of character for him. He's been petty. He's been possessive. He's lashed out when rejected. And remember, he's the father of her child. That gives him emotional access and legal leverage. Suddenly, this whole thing feels less like coincidence and more like revenge. And I need you to think about this hard. If someone weaponized your worst mistake, something you barely survived, and used it to publicly humiliate you, would you still defend them? Because if Andrew is behind Liam's sudden entrance, he's not just a bitter ex. He's a villain. And now, a sidebar. For those of you who've been watching Breakdown Epic from the start, this isn't the first time we've seen a twist that destroys a main character's credibility. Remember what happened to Nate on The Rookie when they tried to retroactively give him a secret kid in season 5? Yeah, this is that, but worse. Because this time it's the lead, and it's retroactive sabotage on her entire journey. So let's recap the forbidden knowledge we've uncovered so far. Theory 1: Teen Liam is lying. This is a scam, and Maggie's the mark. Theory 2: The marriage is real and Maggie knew. but repressed it in shame. Theory 30 Andrew found out and orchestrated Liam's return out of jealousy or revenge. Each of these theories has merit. Each one is terrifying in its own way. And each one is far more compelling than the show's lazy, cliffhanger drop with no answers. But guess what? There's one theory that's even worse. I call it the reset button. See, when shows run out of natural conflict, they hit the reset button. They scramble the story, recycle old drama, force love triangles, and hope you don't notice. And guess what? This twist smells exactly like a reset. A third wheel enters. Emotions get jumbled. Cal pulls away. Maggie spirals. And boom, we're back to season 1 dynamics but with less credibility. Now listen, I'm not saying love triangles can't work. I'm saying we already did this. With Andrew. For 3 seasons. And it flopped so hard it became a cautionary tale. We don't need another third wheel. We need resolution. But maybe, just maybe, this whole twist isn't about love. Maybe Liam is connected to something even darker. Let me ask you a wild, and I mean WLD, hypothetical. What if Maggie wasn't just surprised by Liam's reappearance? What if she's being blackmailed? I know, that sounds like I've officially gone too deep. But bear with me, because this is exactly how shows like this plant ticking bombs. What if Liam has something on Maggie from her Boston past? A malpractice case. A cover-up. A secret that could ruin her entire fresh start in Timberlake. And instead of coming out guns blazing, he shows up with that sweet, manipulative little line. Hey, remember me, your husband. Boom. Game over. This theory, let's call it the blackmail bombshell, changes everything. It shifts the tone of the twist from dumb to diabolical. Suddenly, Maggie's silence isn't stupidity. It's survival. And if that's the case, is Liam even here for romance? Or is he here for revenge? Now pause and breathe for a second. Let's get personal. Because if you're like me, and you've ever had that nightmare where something from your past shows up, just as your life starts to get good, this twist hit hard. Sullivan's Crossing Season 3 didn't just throw a wrench into the gears. It ripped the engine out, shoved a mystery grenade in, and said, let's see what explodes first, the plot or the fandom. And I'll admit it, when Liam showed up and said, I'm your husband, I laughed out loud. Like, not a cute chuckle, a full villain origin story kind of laugh. Because if Maggie's life were a train, this moment was the one where the conductor jumped off and said, good luck. But the part that really fries my circuits, the timeline. Let's do some detective work. Maggie was with Andrew for years. Then she broke it off, had a baby, moved back to Timberlake, and fell in love with Cal. All in what, 2-3 seasons? So where the heck was Liam this whole time? In a coma, on a secret mission, locked in an escape room with no phone. No, if he's real, and this marriage is legal, then he was somewhere, deliberately choosing not to be in her life. Until now. Which means either, he's just now learned where she is. Unlikely. She's not exactly hiding. He's been watching her for a while. A creep alert. He didn't care until something changed. So here's the question no one's brave enough to ask, what changed? What about Maggie's life now makes her suddenly husband-worthy in Liam's eyes? Could it be her success, her spotlight, her happy, healthy relationship with Cal? Because if that's the case, then we're not talking about a romantic twist. We're talking about a hostile takeover. Drop your takes in the comments. Is Liam a lost love or a calculated saboteur? And while you're there, tell me this too. If Cal walks away because of this, will you walk away from the show? Because let's be honest, without Maggie and Cal, Sullivan's Crossing becomes a group therapy session with hiking boots. And hey, remember in season 2 when Maggie told Cal, no more secrets? Well, guess what, sis? Looks like the secret is you were married this whole time. Even my coffee did a spit take when I rewatched that scene. Okay, deep breath. Let's lighten it up for a second. Imagine a deleted scene, post-twist, where Maggie walks into Sully's cabin and says, hey dad, you know that whole journey of self-discovery and healing I've been on for 3 seasons? Yeah, plot twist, I've been married this whole time. Surprise? And Sully just blinks, grabs a beer and walks into the woods. Honestly, I'd respect that reaction. Now let's pivot to something even darker. What if Maggie isn't the victim here? What if Liam's story is real, and she's the one who ghosted him? What if she walked away from a marriage in the middle of a breakdown, never filed for divorce, and pretended it didn't happen? This isn't a theory. This is emotional napalm. Because it means Maggie is lying to everyone, not just to Cal, Andrew, and her family, but to us, the audience. It's the ultimate betrayal. And if the writers go that route in season 4, they better be prepared to rebuild her from scratch, because she'll be walking into the same category as TV's most unforgivable liars. Now if you've made it this far into the video, you're already smarter than 99% of the people still trying to make sense of this twist on Twitter. So here's a callback. Remember in our last Sullivan's Crossing breakdown when I said, if they bring in another love triangle, I'm personally writing a petition to turn Maggie into a nun. Yeah, get the petition ready. We're doing this again. But hey, it's not all doom and despair. There's still a tiny, microscopic chance that season 4 might actually stick the landing. So I want to hear from you. Really, genuinely. In the comments, what would it take for you to accept this twist? A flashback that makes it all make sense. A breakdown scene that explains why she blocked this memory out. Liam turning out to be a fraud and getting arrested in the finale. Or Maggie just owning the truth and rebuilding herself. Drop your fix-it fantasy below. Let's script the redemption arc the show should have written, and if you're still watching this video right now, congratulations. You, my friend, are the real MVP, the Cal to my Maggie, the Sully to my breakdown, the Liam to my plot confusion. 3 seasons of growth, of healing, of painfully slow burn romance, all now dangling by a single, infuriating sentence. I'm your husband. Let's talk about the fallout. Because this isn't just about Maggie, this is a seismic character quake that shakes everyone in Sullivan's Crossing. First up, Cal. Poor, emotionally invested mountain-dwelling Cal. This man survived a traumatic accident, turned his grief into purpose, and waited patiently for Maggie to figure out if she could love again. And just when she finally chooses him, boom, a mystery husband materializes like the ghost of bad writing. Let's not sugarcoat it. This twist doesn't just hurt Cal, it cheapens everything they've built. Because now, every moment between them feels tainted. Did Maggie ever fully open up? Did she ever really trust him? Or was Liam a ticking time bomb in her past the whole time? That uncertainty, it can't be undone. Now, let's give Cal a little roleplay moment, shall we? Imagine Cal stands in front of Maggie, the campfire crackles, he holds back tears. I thought you were finally honest with me, but you left out one thing, your husband. Was I just your rebound before you remembered your real life, Mick? Drop. Scene. Now let's move on to Sully. If you think this twist doesn't hit him, you're wrong. Because Sully's entire arc has been about repairing his bond with Maggie, rebuilding trust, fighting his own demons while helping her confront hers. So how does it look when she reveals she's still married and never said a word? It undermines the very foundation of their reconciliation. And imagine Edna, after surviving brain surgery, by the way, learning that her adopted town daughter might have been lying to the entire community. I mean, give that woman a break, her blood pressure has been through enough. Now let's get a little reckless. Here are 3 nuclear fallout scenarios season 4 could serve us. And yes, they're all possible. Scenario A. Liam files for full custody of Maggie's child, claiming legal marital rights as the husband on paper. Scenario B. Cal finds out Maggie did remember Liam and walks away without a word, ghosting her for the rest of the season. Scenario C. Andrew returns, furious, because he finds out Maggie's marriage to Liam legally invalidated their engagement, meaning the entire proposal arc was based on a lie. Each one of those plotlines is an emotional nuke. And yet, it's probably exactly what the writers are planning. So let's flip the lens again, and talk about the writers themselves, because make no mistake, this isn't just a Maggie problem. This is a showrunner decision, a reset button twist designed to yank viewers into season 4 with zero regard for narrative logic. And honestly, that's just insulting, because if we wanted nonsense twists with no setup, we'd be watching daytime soap operas in 480p on a motel TV. This show used to be smarter than that. So now, let's expose what they might be doing. And if you caught it earlier, you're part of the elite. Remember season 2, episode 7? The one where Maggie's phone rang, she looked at the screen, then immediately silenced it and said, "Wrong number." Guess what? That may not have been a random call. Rewatch that scene. She looked spooked, like someone called her from a past she buried, a past that just might include a wedding ring and a regret she can't face. Was that Liam? Were the seeds there the whole time? If so, props to the writers. You actually foreshadowed something. If not, then this twist is worse than lazy. It's manipulative. Because here's what happens when you introduce a plot twist with no setup. You damage the characters. You confuse the audience. You force tension that doesn't feel earned. It's not storytelling, it's bait. And we, dear viewer, are not fish. We are dragons. And we roast plot holes for breakfast. So let's roast, shall we? How did Liam find Maggie? No GPS, no shared Google Calendar. Just magically knew where she was, like some emotional bloodhound. How is she still legally married? What about taxes, bank accounts, insurance? Did she think divorce was just a vibe? How did no one, not even her nosy, gossip-obsessed community, know this man existed? Plot hole, palooza. And here's my favorite dumb detail. If Maggie forgot about a marriage, what else did she forget? Did she have a secret twin she left at the altar? A Vegas debt? A black market organ sale? At this point, I wouldn't be shocked if she had a second child in Canada and just forgot to pick them up from school. Okay. Deep breath. Let's land this thing with purpose. Because despite all the roast-worthy nonsense, we still care. We care about Maggie. We care about Cal. We care about the potential this show had. That's the real heartbreak. So final question, and it's a big one. Can this show still be saved? That depends on you. Sound off in the comments. What theory do you believe? How do you think season 4 should fix this? And what would you do if you were Maggie? Caught between 2 lives, 2 men, and 1 massively bad decision. Because here's the real twist. We're all Maggie right now. Trying to piece together the past, control the present, and pray the future doesn't punch us in the face with a random husband. And if that isn't peak Sullivan's Crossing, I don't know what is. So to all my breakdown epic watchers, if you laughed, yelled, cringed, or questioned your life choices while watching this twist unfold, you're not alone. Hit that like button if you feel personally victimized by Liam's sudden existence. Subscribe if you're here for every meltdown, mystery, and emotional mic drop coming in season 4, and comment below if you've ever, accidentally, gotten married, because apparently that's a thing now. Until next time, I'm Sophia. And remember, when the plot twists too far, we twist back harder. Stay